When do you think you'll have it done, Cash?
I think in the near future, sir.
Like before I die?
Hello, Patriots. Welcome back to Signal 76, where we expose the uncomfortable truths that the mainstream media wants to bury. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most explosive congressional hearings that reveals exactly how the deep state operates and why every American should be concerned about what's happening to our justice system. Before we get started, if you believe in truth, justice, and the America our founding fathers envisioned, smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and drop a comment below with the word freedom so I know who's standing with us in this fight. Trust me, you'll want to watch until the very end because I'm going to share some critical insights about what we can do to push back against the two-tier justice system that's threatening the very fabric of our republic.
Mr. Director, worry not. We'll make sure your agency is adequately funded. This judge you arrested in Wisconsin, she was breaking federal law, wasn't she?
Yes, that's why we arrested her.
She was helping an illegal immigrant escape being taken into custody. Is that right?
Yes, and the field agents decided to open the case, work the case.
And as Americans, do we get to pick and choose which laws we want to follow?
We do not.
If you're a state court judge, do you get to decide you don't want to follow federal law?
No.
And if you violate federal law, you get arrested, don't you?
Yes, Senator.
That's called equal treatment under the law, isn't it?
Yes, Senator.
You remember Lisa Page and Peter Strzok, don't you?
Yes, Senator.
Mr. Strzok worked for the FBI. Mr. Strzok worked for the FBI. I think Ms. Page worked for Justice. The Inspector General found in its investigation that they hated President Trump and they really wanted Secretary Clinton to win. Is that true?
That's correct, sir.
And this would be the same same Ms. Page who sent an email to Mr. Strzok with whom she was having an affair. Trump's not ever going to become president, right? And Mr. Strzok with the FBI, senior official at the FBI, replied, quote, no, he won't. We'll stop it. Did I read that correctly?
You did, Senator.
Okay. Now, Ms. Page got quit before she could get fired. Mr. Strzok was fired. And predictably, they filed a lawsuit because in Washington, it's easier to divorce your spouse than it is to fire a federal employee. Why did the FBI give Mr. Strzok $1.2 million and Ms. Page $800,000 to settle a lawsuit?
Senator, I do not know that settlement was reached in the prior administration.
Who made the decision?
The prior Department of Justice.
Who in the prior Department of Justice?
The settlement for that kind of case can only come from the Attorney General, which would be Attorney General Merrick Garland.
So the Attorney General decided to give Mr. Strzok $1.2 million and Ms. Page $800,000 after they were fired after actively interfering in the 2016 election. Is that right?
My understanding is that was a settlement they agreed to.
Pass me the sick bucket, please. The Hunter Biden laptop. In October of 2016, shortly before the election, the New York Post wrote a story that was widely covered talking about Mr. Hunter Biden's influence peddling scheme based on his laptop. A couple of weeks later, Secretary of State, soon to be Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, organized a group of 51 so-called intelligence experts. Had some real rock stars on the list. Jim Clapper, John Brennan, Michael Hayden, Leon Panetta, and they said, oh, no, the story in the New York Post is not true. It's based on Russian disinformation. You remember that?
I do, Senator, as the lead investigator for Russiagate for the House Intel Committee.
Yeah. The FBI had the laptop for 10 months, hadn't they?
They did, Senator.
So the FBI knew right before the election that it wasn't Russian disinformation, didn't they?
And that was confirmed by the Inspector General's report.
Yeah. Who at the FBI refused to let the FBI tell the American people the truth?
I don't have that name in front of me, sir.
Well, would you look?
I will, sir.
I'd like to know. I'd like a name, not a division. I'd like the name. Person with a brain and a beating heart.
Yes, sir.
Did Jeffrey Epstein hang himself or did somebody kill him?
Senator, I believe he hung himself in a cell in the Metropolitan Detention Center.
Are you going to release all the information about that?
Senator, we are working through that right now with the Department of Justice.
When do you think you'll have it done, Cash?
I think in the near future, sir.
Like before I die?
Senator, we've been working on that, and we're doing it in a way that protects victims and also doesn't put out into the ether information that is irrelevant for production to the public, such as CSAM.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Reid.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Director. As you're well aware, DOJ...
Patriots, what we witnessed in Senator Kennedy's questioning of Kash Patel is nothing short of extraordinary. The Louisiana senator, known for his no-nonsense approach, just exposed a rot that's been festering in our federal agencies for years. Let's start with the basics. We have a judge in Wisconsin who thought she was above the law. She actively helped an illegal immigrant escape federal custody. Last time I checked, we're a nation of laws, not feelings or political agendas. When Senator Kennedy asked if Americans get to pick and choose which laws to follow, Patel confirmed what we already know. The answer is no, unless, of course, you're a part of the protected political class. And that brings us to the heart of today's discussion. Remember Peter Strzok and Lisa Page? These weren't just any FBI and DOJ officials. These were senior officials who were caught red-handed plotting against a presidential candidate. Let that sink in. The very people tasked with upholding justice in America were conspiring to stop Donald Trump from becoming president. And what happens after they get caught? They get paid. That's right, Patriots. Strzok received $1.2 million, and Page got $800,000 in settlements approved by none other than Attorney General Merrick Garland. This isn't just government waste. This is rewarding individuals who attempted to subvert an American election. Senator Kennedy's response said it all. Pass me the sick bucket, please. I couldn't agree more. But it gets worse. We all remember the Hunter Biden laptop story that the New York Post courageously published right before the 2020 election. What happened next? The full force of the deep state mobilized to bury it. 51 former intelligence officials, including big names like James Clapper and John Brennan, signed a letter claiming it was Russian disinformation. Meanwhile, the FBI had been sitting on that laptop for 10 months. They knew the truth, but they let Americans be lied to. They allowed the election to be influenced by falsehoods. This is a definition of election interference, my friends. But you won't hear that from the mainstream media, will you? And then we come to perhaps the most chilling moment of the hearing. Senator Kennedy's direct question about Jeffrey Epstein. Did Jeffrey Epstein hang himself, or did somebody kill him? A question millions of Americans have been asking since that fateful night in August 2019. Patel claims Epstein hung himself, but then Kennedy pressed him on when all the information would be released. Before I die, the senator quipped. Patel's response was telling. They're working on it, but need to protect victims and avoid releasing irrelevant information. Patriots, we've heard these excuses before. How long does it take to tell the American people the truth? What are they hiding? Who are they protecting? These are the questions we need to keep asking. This hearing confirms what many of us have suspected for years. There's a two-tiered system of justice in America. One set of rules for the political elite and their allies, and another for everyday Americans like you and me. When federal officials can actively work against a presidential candidate, get fired, and then walk away with millions of taxpayer dollars, something is deeply wrong with our system. So what can we do about it? First, stay informed. The mainstream media won't tell you these stories, but channels like Signal 76 will always bring you the unfiltered truth. Second, make your voice heard. Call your representatives. Vote in every election from school board to president, and never stop demanding accountability. Remember, Patriots, this country wasn't built by people who stood silently by while their freedoms were eroded. It was built by brave men and women who refused to back down in the face of tyranny. The spirit of 1776 lives on in each of us, and it's our sacred duty to preserve the republic for future generations. If this information fired you up like it did me, please share this video with everyone you know. The more Americans understand what's happening, the harder it becomes for the corrupt establishment to continue business as usual. This is Signal 76, standing firm for truth, justice, and the American way. Until next time, stay vigilant, stay united, and never stop fighting for freedom. God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America.